Welcome to the Freaky Film Club, everybody. We're feeling really festive this evening, and we've got a great Christmas movie for you. And I'm joined with the film club. Hi,
Here we
guys.
are.
All right.
Tonight we are taking a look at Christmas Evil. Roll the credits, all that fancy stuff. All right. So this is a 1980 slasher film that was written and directed by Lewis Jackson. And this was the first time I saw the film. And I have to say, I was pretty amazed. What about your first time viewing experiences, Damon?
Well,
I saw this. Mike asked me about this. Basically, I must have rented it off of the Netflix disc when they used to send discs, and it was probably around Christmas time, probably around like 2010 or something like that, when maybe they did a re-release. That would have been the 30 year, and I made a copy of it, and then last summer I was looking for something else, and then I opened up a drawer and there's a disc that said Christmas Evil, and so like I have to rewatch this because I don't really remember it, and then so I rewatched it, and then I vaguely remembered watching it, but I was just we came to the end, and then when I saw the end, I was like, we have to do this, so.
it was one of those that it made me, I don't know. I think I love Santa even more now. I feel Santa now. I know more what he goes through, and yeah, especially when people make fun of him.
Were you aware of the film prior to?
No.
No.
Once Damon like handed it over, I'm like, Christmas Evil, interesting. Is this going to be like Black Christmas? Is it going to be as good as Black Christmas? So yeah, I didn't know what to expect going into it, but I definitely didn't expect what the character was going to be doing throughout it. So it was interesting.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, it was the first time hearing about it, first time seeing it, first time everything.
All right. So this is a film. I guess let's just jump in. There's a few people I guess worth mentioning maybe. And Brandon Maggart was our main character. He played the Harry. What's their last name? Harry
Stadling?
Yeah. And so film opens up. It's Christmas 1947. Santa arrives as a family watches from the staircase, and he's going through the whole stereotypical Santa thing. He's getting his cookies and milk, and there's a bowl of water with soap for him to wash his hands even before the meal, that's a new one. I've never seen anyone do that before.
Right.
And then he starts to place the presents, and eventually the family just disappears from the stairs, and it cuts to two boys talking in a bedroom, and it's Harry and his brother,
No, you're
and
you don't know
they're
nothing,
they're
Billy.
they're kind of that was a whole thing that they were just describing basically. And his brother is telling Harry that Santa's not real. It was his dad. So then Harry goes downstairs and he sees his dad dressed as Santa groping his mom.
Mhm.
And it's a pretty traumatic thing to witness, I guess, because he runs immediately up into the attic and finds it's not like he finds it. It's just sitting out there, the snow globe, and tosses it in a fit of rage, breaks into a bunch of pieces, grabs a piece of glass and cuts his hand. And that is the opening of Christmas Evil.
Do you think,
Thoughts?
Jeremy, that There, it was a reference to. I saw "Mommy Kissing Santa Claus" song.
I was definitely thinking that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here. It was just like that whole like message almost at the end before the title credits like officially like showed up. Like him with the snow globe, the blood showing up. That was like what's to come type of thing. With what he's about to mentally go through, I guess, or mentally prepare you for.
It's an interesting setup too. That in that you think back to the original Halloween, you're not given much as to why Michael Myers kills his sister. This at least they give you a setup as to the character motivation.
Yeah,
Sure.
I actually had to ask my wife Kelly, like, so seeing like his dad like rope his mom, why did that like I mean, obviously he's dressed as Santa, but that mentally like makes him go through all this rage throughout the movie, or makes him not rage, but like he becomes this person, and then I don't know how that makes him want to become Santa, but we'll discuss that, I guess, later.
It does seem like an odd leap.
It does. I had to think about it for a while, and I'm like, I even asked her, and because she's really good with like murder mystery, like serial killer type of stuff. So I'm like, is this something that a lot of like these type of people go through? Does this seem familiar?
How have you guys seen Taxi Driver?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I read one review saying that the Travis Bickle character is sort of an inspiration for this person, and that they're slowly sort of falling into a sort of mental descent throughout the film.
I can see that. So we cut to present day, which is 1980, I'm guessing, and the main character Harry wakes up, and you realize right away that he has a very unhealthy obsession with Santa and Christmas. Like I wrote down, his collection of Santas probably puts my mom's collection to shame, and she loved collecting Santa shit.
Yeah.
So he's in a great mood. He's singing carols. He's waking up. He's got his like Santa PJs on. He's just a nut job. It's clear right off the bat. I mean, and then he looks into the mirror and he's shaving, and he has the flashback of himself cutting his hand. So like, does he have that every time that he shaves? Like every time he just like, because there was a lot of flashbacks in this. They use that a lot. Like
Yeah.
as he like gets triggered by something.
I think it was probably just there as a device for the viewer to realize that this is the little boy this is who he became.
Sure.
Not that it's a different person. It's like, oh, this is the same guy years later.
That makes sense.
Well, he had the flashback because he cut himself, right?
Yeah. But it's just
Which
like,
he actually didn't even touch his skin. I went back. I went back. Not that it matters, but you know how I am with the details. And he cut himself when he touched the shaving cream.
Oh. Well,
So
I'll have to look back at that myself.
doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, but I noticed that.
Yeah.
he must not have had many chances to shoot or many takes.
It was a low budget film too. It was like it was supposed to be low, but the budget ended up being even higher. Is that something you guys read too? Like,
Well, I think 800,000.
850 or somewhere around there, like 800s it was, but it ended up being way higher than it should have been for that type of budget of a film.
Yeah, it's 1980, so of course they're actually shooting on film, probably 16 millimeter. It looks pretty rough, so it probably was 16 millimeter. But still, film is just so expensive that it's funny that as I was watching it, just thinking, just sort of the cameras that we own can produce better looking image than sort of the camera that
It's
they
crazy,
used to
yeah.
film that. Yeah.
How much we've come technology for camera and the film industry.
Yeah. So now we see him looking through his binoculars, keeping tabs on the neighborhood kids. It's really creepy. He's looking through their windows.
Yeah.
He's, just looking at the good deeds, keeping track of everything. And then he finally looks at a kid named Moss who's looking at a skin mag. It's it gets him pretty triggered, so he has to immediately go and like write it down in his naughty kid book.
Yeah, it's like making a naughty or like a good list or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a kind of an important point that the character Harry, he actually sort of believes that he is Santa Claus on some level.
Yeah. So after the writing, he goes to work, and he's working at a factory. He's currently he's trying to like rally his coworkers because he's like he believes in quality toys, and he doesn't feel like they have the enthusiasm for their jobs that he's looking for.
Yeah, Jolly Dreams Toy Factory.
Jolly Dreams. And it's also been revealed that he recently got promoted, but he misses the line because he likes to be around the toys. So Frank joins the conversation. Or no, actually, I'm sorry. Well, we do meet Frank a little bit, but then Frank calls him when he's in his office and basically gets him to cover his shift for that night and go back on the line.
What were your thoughts on the assembly line that they were working on? I mean,
it seems so miserable.
Yeah, it doesn't look fun. I can tell you that. I don't want to be part of that. But with a name like that factory, you'd think you would want to work there.
At least they got to like listen to like ambient Christmas tunes in the background. I guess that helped a little bit, but like I don't think I could even do like an 8-hour shift of that. It would be rough.
I think I'd walk out day one.
Do you remember
one thing I'll add is that I shared his enthusiasm, I guess, towards wanting better toys. I remember looking at those and I thought, what kid would want to play with those? Because there was like nothing, you couldn't do anything with them. They were like a guy on a motorcycle, an airplane. What were some? Oh, it was like a statue of like some soldier with like a lightning bolt that they were putting on.
Yeah.
Who would have fun with that?
They were pretty lame. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather play with Cole.
And cheap. Very cheap.
Yeah.
They looked like I think they were probably just made out of plastic, but they reminded me of those Mold-O-Rama things from the zoo.
Oh yeah.
Something that would break really easily.
Not well made.
No.
Do you guys remember the opening montage to Laverne and Shirley?
Kinda.
I'd have to rewatch it again.
There's at one point there, it shows them working at the job that they're at, and it's an assembly line that's very similar. So
The glove on.
yeah, it almost makes it think that at one point this was a job that a lot of people did have, this sort of assembly line work. But yeah, to me, it seems like completely, utterly mind-numbing.
Especially if you have nothing in common with the people next to you, then you can't even like converse with them. You're just trapped in between.
You know, one thing interesting too, and I don't know if we're getting into these details about the assembly line, but there seemed to be no like order as far as like who puts on the piece, like because Harry was skipping some toys, and then so was it just like whoever if they just see no one got to it, they'll just grab it. But there were some that looked like nobody was getting to.
That was a total cluster.
Yeah.
there was no order to it.
Get to whatever
And then
ones
for a
you
while-
can and do it.
Yeah, for a while Harry was doing all of them,
Yeah.
and then for a while he was skipping a few. I didn't get how that was working.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. They probably need to slow the line down a little bit.
A little bit.
So Harry ends up cutting himself on one of the toys.
He's got a bad knack for getting cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he he leaves the job and looks through the window of the bar and sees Frank in there yucking it up with a bunch of people. So he gets pissed, starts to lose his shit, goes home and starts to lose his shit.
Yeah, he realizes he's been deceived, that Frank really didn't need the time off, and he was just sort of drinking at the local bar. And he also
Yeah.
hears Frank refer to him as a schmuck.
Oh yeah. So then he like doesn't he just like take the head off of one of the toys or something, or like he's like holding onto a toy and like it's like filled with rage.
He breaks one of the dollhouse figures while humming Christmas tunes.
I loved all the random humming to himself throughout this too. That was, he was good. He was really played a mental guy really well.
John Waters was a big fan of this film. Are you guys familiar with John Waters films?
A little bit.
Kind of.
Yeah, so he really sort of crazy out there. We were going to talk a little bit about what trauma is.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess Lloyd Kaufman, I guess, like re-released the uncut version of this. They for those of you who don't know Trauma, the most well known is probably Toxic Avenger.
Okay.
Which they're actually remaking sometime soon, I think. But yeah, they put out a bunch of low budget schlock, but apparently they just picked this film up in the rubble of a fire. And that gave them the rights to release the uncut version. It was really odd. But the beginning of this one, it did say Lloyd Kaufman presents. I noticed, so I'm like, "Is this whole?" I was confused. I thought it was a Trauma film, but it's not. It's just a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like the film itself too. I think I also read that it had a very low theatrical release, or not widespread. I don't know if Damon, if you saw that anywhere.
I did not, but I did see that it was banned in the UK for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is kind of interesting because there's not that many kills in this film.
There isn't, no.
The actual first kill doesn't occur until I think 52 minutes into it.
Yeah.
Which for a horror film is usually in the horror film, someone gets knocked off in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So now after kind of losing his shit at home, Harry goes to his brother's place and watches his brother through the windows. And they start, after the kids leave the room, his brother and wife start getting intimate, and it triggers Harry. Makes him flash back to that moment again in childhood. And then he goes home.
Yeah.
And
That one moment.
That one very, very heartbreaking moment. It changes everything. Then the next day, Harry's watching the Thanksgiving parade, and he calls his brother to cancel his Thanksgiving dinner plans at the house. And then we get a kind of little mini montage of him putting the Santa suit together, and then he paints his van with a sleigh on it. And while he's painting it, he's like reciting the kids' names and what they want. It's really off-putting.
Yeah, it makes his character even more like, what the hell is going on in his mind?
You get the sense too that he thinks his van has sort of magical properties, like Santa's sleigh would have magical properties.
Yeah.
So then the next day, he says hi to the kids, and they ask him what his wish is, and he says he wishes for super magic. or he wished he was super magic. And then the kids start telling him what their wishes are. And we get to Moss again, and he's like, a lifetime subscription to Playboy or whatever, or Penthouse. And then he gets pissed again. He's like, no! Fucking Moss! So then this leads Harry to spy on Moss. This was weird. I didn't understand the point of putting the handprints on the just to intimidate him or to make him think it was a monster.
Yeah, that was interesting too. I was trying to figure that out. I was thinking that it was, yeah, he would think that someone was watching him when he saw the handprints on the, and that would maybe scare him into not looking at the magazines.
Okay, so yeah, Harry hides out in the bushes, spies on Moss. He's sitting in front of the television, he's got his toys left out. His mom's pissed. They got to go somewhere, so she drags him out of the house, and Harry has to duck really fast into the bushes and hide. And Moss is a little shit, but you do feel bad for him. I did, at least, because his mom is a little. She's at her wit's end, so I get it, but she does smack him at one point.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too, because this is kind of in the same timeline as Silver Bullet. And in Silver Bullet, the mom threatens to slap the disabled son.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I was just kind of getting back to like, this is what you don't see in Stranger Things as far as what was going on in the 80s, and that it was considered acceptable to sort of slap your kid around a little bit. Not a lot, but just, if they got out of hand.
Yeah, teach those kids a lesson so they listen to you. So you got to slap them here and there. A few light slaps here and there.
I was showing my film students trailers. One of them was from the movie Airplane. And they got a big kick out of the fact that in the trailer, twice in the trailer, a passenger who's losing kind of losing it on the airplane gets slapped across the face. And the fact that if that was, the students thought that was really funny, but there was a time when it was considered acceptable to slap someone on a plane if they're getting out of, if they're losing it. And they thought we should go back to that time as well.
That's funny. It made me think of the scene too about like slapping kids. I don't know why. For the movie Mrs. Doubtfire, when he's making all the phone calls to Sally Field about like trying to throw her off about getting the job, and then there's one he goes where he's trying to be like an old lady and goes, or do your kids need a few light slaps here and there? And then she just like freaks out. I don't know why it made me think of that.
Derek, I thought of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a funny scene, and it's just the way he said it made me think, yeah, it's a funny one.
I think he actually said a few light slams.
Oh, I thought slaps. I thought it was slaps.
No, that's why it made him even weirder when he said slams.
Okay.
Because that made her hang up immediately.
Yeah. That makes it even funnier now.
Yes.
I kept thinking slaps. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said slams.
Okay.
Because what's a light slam?
Yeah.
People did that nowadays. They're like, oh no, but maybe it'll teach kids a lesson.
Well, and I was going to use that example too to say how evidently the tide changed relatively quickly, because Mrs. Doubtfire, that was in 93, and this is 1980. So, that's only 13 years.
Yeah.
It's one movie, but evidently things were changing pretty quickly.
Yeah. Speaking of which, The Simpsons, I don't know if you guys heard that Homer Simpson is no longer allowed to make references to him choking Bart. Like, that's not going to be a running joke anymore.
God. Yeah, I heard that. I actually thought it was like a little like rumor, but now that you mention it, so I guess they're not going to do it anymore.
Nothing is sacred anymore.
No. Too sensitive.
Except for the Freaky Film Club. We'll never sell out or change. All right.
We keep it
Anyways,
real here.
yeah, we keeps it real for sure. So, where the hell are we? Oh yeah. So Moss, before he actually getting in the car, does spot Harry. So he starts to like walk up to the bushes, and just as he gets like about a foot from Harry, he like scares the shit out of him by like kind of pretending to grab it
Yeah.
at him. And somehow the mom doesn't see any of this. She just is solely focused on getting to the destination and like getting Moss back to the car. And this is when he gets smacked when he finally gets back to the vehicle. And he's like, "No, seriously, there's a monster in the bushes, Mom. You gotta believe me." And she's like, "You ruined this whole trip. I hate you."
Well, he wasn't lying.
He was really being super serious.
Oh.
It's a boy who cried wolf.
Literally. Boy cried Santa.
So then the next day he is in his creepy toy making workshop, and he's putting together like a soldier toy. He's got like the plastic mold or whatever, and he puts that together and closes with like the creepy like stuffed animal. Like was it a monkey or something, or a clown? I don't even know. It was something creepy. It laughed. But anyway, so then we go to work the next day.
Well, hang on a second. One favorite moment in that little scene I liked was he saluted the toy.
Oh yeah.
That's how you
good
know
stuff.
he's really devoted.
Yes.
Yeah, so the next day they're at the work Christmas party, and everyone's kind of mingling a little bit, and he learns about this weird like donation scheme that the company is doing, where basically like I guess the gist of it is like they basically want all the employees to donate their own money, or else like they're not going to donate any gifts to the hospital. Like it's all performance based, basically. They could have just donated, but instead it has to have like some sort of like string attached.
Yeah.
So Harry's obviously upset about that, and he keeps saying weird shit to his coworkers, like. He's like, you're not singing the right tune. And he's like, this guy, he doesn't know, but you. I mean, I don't know exactly. Something about the tune.
Yeah, I didn't get that. That became a important line through the rest of the movie, and I never really understood what is he talking about. This tune.
Yeah, it just seemed to
He said
come out of nowhere.
Yeah, they were having a little talk with this new like executive in training, this younger guy, and then an older guy. I think it was Harry's boss, and Harry said, I have the right tune, I can play the tune. And then he said he doesn't know why a tune has to be played. He's referring to his boss there. But then he points to the new guy and he says, you know how to play it. I have no idea what he's talking about. Kind of, at some level, I kind of get it with you know how to play it. Like he's referring to the executive, like the executive knows how to play the corporate bullshit game.
Sure.
In a way. But I don't really get where that comes from.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys know this whole tune thing? What is that?
It's the right tune for, I don't know, was for the company that needs to, the right tune for Christmas, the right mindset that the company needs, I don't know. The right tune that, like, oh, I know how needs to go for the Christmas time for around here. This guy doesn't. I don't know, maybe something like that, or how it should be done throughout Christmas. I don't know, the feel. I don't know.
One thing I'll add too that I laughed at was they made a point to point out like all the drinking that was going on, and it was such a little thing, but did anybody notice how they like showed them pouring the drinks, and they showed the bartender or whoever was pouring the drinks, like they had like all the cups lined up, and then like somebody took a glass away and the bartender just kept pouring the
I didn't notice
onto
that.
the
I'd have to look back
table.
on that one.
They took the glass away and he just kept pouring it.
That's awesome. Nice. So, well, everyone is still partying it up. Harry goes downstairs to the actual factory, and he starts taking all the toys out and like loading them into sacks. And then he I guess I was confused by this at first, but then I sort of got it when he did what he did. But like he's in you see him like in a like a grassy area, like loading dirt into like the bag. So I was confused, but then you kind of get it, right? I mean, he's loading it in there, right? That's what he's loading in for Moss.
Yeah, that's what he's giving the naughty kids, bags of dirt.
Yeah,
Just bags of dirt, yeah.
Because at first I was like, what is he burying, like the toys? But yeah,
It was just the dirt, I believe.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that he was going to give away.
Okay. So then he starts to freak out in the mirror, and this is like where he finally, I think this is like his biggest break right here, where he's like, he's like, I am Santa Claus now. he has got the beard on, and he's like it's me, it is me. Something like that.
Yeah, he glues the beard to his face.
I was going to say, yeah, he ends up putting that thing and he keeps tugging on it to make sure it's like, yep, it's on all right.
Yeah.
So he's officially the Santa Claus.
It's
Watch out, Tim.
the full transition is complete.
Yeah.
So then he cuts to Christmas Eve, and Harry is dropping off gifts dressed as Santa at a random house. I don't know which house it is.
I think it's his brother's house, the one that he'd gone over to earlier.
Okay. And then
yeah, I was confused about that too, as far as whose house that was, but I did put it together. It must have been the nephew's house. I guess nobody locks their door.
apparently not.
Yeah. Theft wasn't a huge thing back then, apparently.
So he's
And did we say that what I put together there is Phil E, the brother, Phil. He lives in their childhood home, right? Isn't that their house that they grew up in?
No, I didn't put that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I thought it was the same house they showed right in the beginning. And then he's there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he still lives there. That's his
Same
parents'
place.
house.
Yeah.
I guess that's one way to save on production.
True. Just add that into the story.
It was a nice house.
So after he's done dropping off the presents, he notices one of the gifts is from the factory, and he like discards it, kind of just chucks it off to the side. So then next.
Oh, are you still talking about at the house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that whole scene was weird to me. I didn't even really understand what he was doing. So he was taking gifts because there were already gifts under the tree.
Yeah.
And so is that what he was doing? Because he was like just looking at him and then like just throwing them in the back, like towards the back of the tree. Were those the toys from the factory? Like, because he thinks they're junk?
That's what that was my interpretation. Yeah.
But didn't he take toys from the factory to give to the kids anyway? It's the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. Maybe it's like just because like it's his family, so like they can't have these, but the people at the hospital, it's good enough for them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
These'll do.
I don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, that whole scene was odd, like, because again, we didn't even really fully know where he was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can put it together that we think he was at the nephew's, but
Yeah.
Also, the
Yeah, that
character
was
is descending into madness. So some of the things that he does, of course, they're not going to make sense because it's not a rational mind.
Yeah.
That's fair. So his next house on his list is Moss's house, and he leaves the letter, the nasty letter, and the bag of dirt. He's very giddy. Then he goes to the hospital to drop off toys. This is like he has like a crazy exchange with the security guard.
I have a delivery. I mean, I have toys for the children inside. At this hour?
And you think it's
the
like
security guard was more the problem. I thought he was confrontational.
yeah, he was like ready to. He was gonna grab his gun. I mean,
Yeah.
you think it seems like it's gonna escalate. You think maybe you're gonna get the first kill in the film, maybe, but it kind of doesn't, of course. And he, I don't really. Are we okay? So whenever it starts to snow, is something magical supposed to be happening, or is that like? I don't know. It always seemed like whenever snow started to fall, something weird was about to happen. Like he was like in Santa mode, and like
That's a good way of thinking of it when he was doing that, because it was snowing when a lot of that was going on.
it was just something I noticed, but I didn't know if it like had coincided with every time or not. But that it was something. Yeah. But anyways, he ends up he drops the presents off at the hospital. It's insane. Like he opens the van. It's just like this magical.
There's so many
moment.
boxes in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nicely put in there when he opened the door. It's like, look at all these presents for the kids.
Yeah. So.
The hospital seemed legitimately grateful for
Oh yeah.
him doing that once they realized that he had toys. I mean, I think the only reason the security guard was so cranky, because that's what I wrote down about him, is that he was cranky, was because I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was a really weird time to be doing this.
Yeah.
And he showed up unannounced, and but once once the security guard realized that he was just giving toys, they all seemed really grateful for that.
Yeah. So after he's done doing that, he walks past a church just as midnight mass is letting out. And these people in the front of the crowd walking out start to make fun of him. Are they coworkers?
I don't know.
I don't
I don't think he knew them.
It was weird because like I read the Wikipedia plot description and it lists all of the characters' first names that made fun of him. But it's like, how would anyone ever know that?
Right.
But so yeah, there's a group of 4. He ends up killing 3, and this is like as you said, this is 52 minutes in, and it is the first kill of the film.
It was like, 3 of them died right there.
I was gonna say too, that scene. Let's analyze that more.
Yeah.
The thing that bugged me about that scene
Was like
the people
graphicness of the eye stab.
No, the killing. No, I enjoyed. I loved it. No, I was disturbed more by the fact that here these people are at church, and that's how they're treating somebody. They don't even know the guy.
Right.
Like, I know that Wikipedia, they said that they're coworkers. I didn't recognize any of those people.
Yeah, I
It's more
didn't
or less
either.
like, you would have to look back at the Toy Factory scenes and see, like, oh,
Yeah.
this guy's there.
I thought they were strangers, and there was somebody there in church that he knew. Who was there? I can't remember. Wasn't there someone like in the background of the crowd that he knew?
There was. I don't know
Was
who
it the
was.
executive? The
Oh.
young
I think
executive?
it was, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so again, I didn't know those people, and they were acting like such assholes. I couldn't believe it. Like, you guys, why are you even going to church? You
Right,
clearly aren't following the teachings of your faith.
Especially after
I-
like a Christmas service like that.
And then not to mention he's dressed as Santa, which is this is all about your holiday, which is right now. And this is how they're acting. That's what really aggravated me about that is just,
So was it almost
That
like
was
these guys
disgusting.
deserved it?
well, in a way, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they're acting like complete assholes.
Yeah.
Like high school bullies to a stranger that they just met who's dressed as Santa.
And that's when you cheer on Harry. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
do your thing. Do the thing with the little soldier with the sword, the long sword.
Yeah.
Go, Harry, go.
Go after him.
Yeah.
So do you want to go into, Jeremy, do you want to go into the actual killing?
Sure. Excuse me. So the first one is a stab to the eye, which is graphic. I mean, it goes
Yeah.
in there.
It does,
I love
yeah.
how he was like on his side, like he's his friend. And
Yeah.
he's got the bayonet sticking out. Like that movie Small Soldiers.
Exactly. I loved that movie when I was a kid. I was obsessed
Yeah.
with it.
Me too. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. And then he has like a hatchet
Yep.
and
Yeah.
starts to whack the
That's what
rest
he
of
killed the other two with, right? Was just
Yeah.
the hatchet, yeah.
And what was that made out of?
I was a little
I thought
confused
it
by
was
that
plastic.
too. It seemed like really kind of flimsy.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, and it wasn't big.
No.
It was
No, it
like
was pretty small.
it was like this big. And he's hitting him with it. He's hitting him, and it's doing all this damage. He's hitting him in the head.
Yeah.
And it's this little thing.
That's Christmas magic for you.
Exactly.
I guess so.
It may be small, but it does a lot of damage. But I mean, like, it'll kill you.
Yeah.
So yeah, not bad at all for the first kills. We get a 3-for-1 deal, and he takes off, and right away somehow the crowd is everyone's just showing shock. No one stops him.
Yeah, like nobody stopped them, and then they really like kept showing shots of them dead, and then the lady crying, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah. So then he takes off, finds a neighborhood Christmas party, which I'm guessing this is in some sort of like VFW hall or something. I didn't really know what this was, like, or a community center maybe.
Yeah.
It was called the Families and Friends Association.
Yeah, so it's like a clubhouse.
I guess so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so two guys from the party see him peering through the window of this thing, and obviously they just think he's like a normal Santa impersonator, so they're like, come on in, dude, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And he starts the party.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, this is next to the ending. I think this is my favorite scene. Just in that, in a typical horror film, you wouldn't have a scene like this. Where after the initial murders have taken place, and then suddenly he becomes Santa again. For a scene.
Full Santa mode is returned.
So he starts to dance with some of the party goers, and then he makes a small speech to the kids before leaving. He's like, listen to your teachers and your parents and be good, and I'll bring you something good every year. And the delivery of the end of this is awesome, where he's like, but if you're naughty, then you'll get something like truly awful. Or
And at that point, everyone in the party kind of senses that there's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
yeah.
But By awful, I mean dirt.
Well, he saved it. He saved it though. He did a toast to Christmas, and they all cheered for him. So
That's true.
I think he did save it. I think they really liked him, even though they completely dragged him in there with against his will. He didn't want to go in there.
Yeah.
It's like, come on in, guys.
And just to go back a little bit, he was looking through the window, and they dragged him in. And I know they had been drinking, so you have to factor that in. But would you guys be inclined to bring somebody that you don't even know in to a party, even if he is dressed as Santa? Would you be like, hey, there's a guy just staring at us. He's dressed as Santa. Let's bring him in.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Not especially
Again,
not after seeing this movie.
Not in today's world.
Well, and times have changed a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe back then people would have, but
Yeah, they weren't
nowadays,
as
no.
like aware of things. It's like, oh, he's fine. He's curious of what's going on, so let's let him in. See if he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Today it's just like, nope, you lock your doors or you have a Ring doorbell. It's like, nope, this person looks creepy. Get him away. Call 911. Or not 911, call the cops.
So then after he gives his speech to the kids and the toast, he leaves the party, and this is another indication that he does think it's a sleigh, as he's like kind of like whipping the reindeer in front of him. And he goes to Frank's house. He tries the chimney, and it doesn't go so well. And this is another moment where it starts to snow, I noticed, kind of randomly. Gets himself out of the chimney and goes back down to ground level and finds an open basement window. So he goes in that way. It's like a sliding window. And he starts to leave gifts under the tree, and the kids notice. They're kind of peeking out from the bedroom. They see him doing it, and then they quickly put their heads back in. Then he walks down the hallway, looks in through the kids' doorway really quick, and then continues down towards Frank's bedroom, where Frank is sleeping next to his wife. And it's sort of a weird, like, they both have their own mattress, but they're next to each other. It's a kind of a unique layout.
I didn't notice that. They were in separate beds.
Yeah, they had their own mattress, but like they were shoved together to make it like a queen or a king, basically. Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. And then he wakes Frank up by saying, like, you wanted it all, but you're not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Or is this another thing? Why are we analyzing a whack job?
All I
But
can
I mean,
think
maybe
is
there supposed to be some meaning there? Is there anything?
it's like a reference maybe to, well, obviously it must be a reference to the fact that he wanted to like slack off and get him to cover for him, and he lied to him. So he's like, oh, you think you could just have all this leisure time and be a slacker, but you're not
Yeah,
a
not get
child
things done.
anymore. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I can think of.
So you're saying like he wants all the fun, but he's not taking the responsibilities
right,
of working.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just there to have fun, but not there to do the work to get anything done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but either way, he proceeds to suffocate
Yep.
Frank with his sack of toys. And still, the wife hasn't woken up yet. She's
think-
just starting to turn.
Yeah. Was there like a lot of, I can't remember, was there a lot of like shuffling in the bed where that would like maybe wake her up or make her hear anything?
I mean, they did just like Frank and Harry both spoke at normal volume.
Yeah. Deep sleeper, I guess.
I guess so. And the separate mattress too. That
Yeah.
helps the separation.
It's the budget. The budget of the film had to do with that.
Well, they may have done that deliberately just to make it more believable.
True.
I didn't even notice that, the separate mattress. Did anybody else notice that except Jeremy?
Not really.
Damon?
No, I didn't notice it. No.
I really liked the lime green sheets too. That's another thing I noticed. So the suffocating isn't going well. It's taking too long. So he lifts the bag back up and he grabs a tree topper, like a star, and he slashes Frank's throat with that. And it causes Frank's body to fall onto his wife. Still, I mean, his wife now obviously notices, but she's like in shock and she's just like silently looking at him going, "Huh?" It's like when in the old cartoon, it's like when you see a ghost, it's like,
Yeah, the face. The shocked look face.
It definitely gives Harry enough time to escape back to the van. The kids see him getting out of the house, and then you hear the wife scream just as he's like taking off. And
Well, we should just add too that the police are looking for him already at this point.
oh, that's true. Yeah. They
Since
do
the events of the church,
Yeah.
they're looking for him.
That's right. Yeah, they had a short scene in between where like they show like the detectives show up to the church. Yeah. Okay. So next day is actually Christmas Day, and then Harry goes to his brother's. Oh no, I'm sorry. He doesn't go there. It just shows his brother's place. And
I think you intentionally underestimated
his brother Phil is worried about him because he always shows up on Christmas Day, and it just is out of character completely. And we get a news report that pops up on TV that details the massacres that happened the last night that that Harry did. And I would guess at this point Phil is like, okay, we don't know for sure, but that definitely seems weird.
Yeah.
My brother's obsessed with Christmas.
Yeah, he's suspicious.
So
I can't remember. Did they say that there was a guy dressed as Santa doing it? Or was it like...
Yeah.
They did say that.
Word is spreading, that there's a killer Santa on the loose.
Yeah.
So then he goes to the factory to destroy toys that he deems to be subpar, which is like all, I guess, basically.
After what we saw, yeah.
Kind of very random scene. Then we see we see the lineup of the Santas. And then one of them, he's saying, say the line, and more enthusiasm, say the line. And they're all very confused and angry. They just want to get home, go back to their jobs. Harry's brother calls him and informs him that he's going to play his tune now. So it's very cryptic again, freaking his brother out. And Harry gets his van stuck in the snow. So he leaves the van and he ends up running into a crowd of people who immediately know he is the deranged, murderous Santa.
Wait, I don't think they know.
Well, the flat brim hat gentleman certainly seems convinced right away, but you're right. Everyone else is like...
I don't think he knew either, though. They just weren't taking any chances.
Okay. All right. So they're being cautious because, they know what's up. But,
unless I'm forgetting something, was there a line that he said it that...
Well, the dude that pulls out the knife is like, fuck that. I know it's him.
Yeah,
But-
I didn't get. I think that guy was just kind of a hothead.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. So they just take it. They don't want to take any chances.
Right.
He's a dirty ass Santa with a black eye, and
There's a group of kids that surround him too.
yeah.
So the kids are kind of protecting Santa from being rushed by the mob.
Yes. And the dude with the knife starts to approach, but the little girl stops him from doing so. And
This actually reminded me of Frankenstein. This whole sequence and sort of how he's being tried. He's being you actually you feel sympathy for him at this point.
Yeah. Now that you said that too, like it definitely like we haven't discussed it yet, but later on it has a lot of similarities to Frankenstein. Once Jeremy, you get to that part, I'll mention it.
Sure. So he somehow, the little girl gets her hands on the knife and gives it to Santa, to Harry, and uses that opportunity to escape and get away from the crowd. And as he's making his escape through the alley, they start to do the torches.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to relate it to. Like the whole torches, them going after Frankenstein, bringing it back to that classic monster like they did back then.
Yeah.
Like, the whole crowd's, they got to find the bad guy, which was Frankenstein, they thought. And then they just torches up, going through the town, marching, trying to find him. So it made me think of that right away.
Well, before we get to that, though, we have to say how that woman stabbed him in the cheek with a brooch.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. All right. So he does get his van free from the snow at this point, and he takes off to Phil's house. And once inside, basically, well, Phil now obviously he knows the truth 100%. He's like, "You're sick, man. You are sick." And then Harry blames Phil for all of his childhood trauma. He's like, "Dude, I was 6 or whatever." Like, what the fuck, man? And then Phil ends up strangling Harry until he gets choked out, and then he loads him up into the driver's seat of his van. And,
Also, Phil's wife is very sort of upset that that they're fighting.
Oh yes, and she's kind of watching from the same position on the stairs as when he was a kid watching, and when the family was watching Santa. Everyone likes to sit in that spot, apparently.
There's a lot of
Well, and I'll say it too here that part, the way that scene was done. For a while, I was thinking Phil was the crazy person. I mean, he just went right from having a conversation with him to strangling him now. And he said something too. Phil said that Harry ruined their lives. Isn't that a little extreme? I don't see any evidence of that. They seem to be doing fine.
Well,
and if he ruined their lives, why is he in their life? Why are they inviting him to Christmas?
True.
Yeah, I mean,
well, right? I mean, that's what you do.
I know for
just
sure.
Because your family doesn't mean you have to be together.
Right. Right. I mean, unless he meant like in that, like just now in this very moment, like you ruined our lives because you murdered all these people.
It's like, you ruined my reputation.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, that's adding to it. That's de-escalation.
Well, I think we're gonna assume that he was gonna take Harry to the police station and hand him over. I would assume.
Yeah, I agree. Wait, after he strangled him or before?
Yeah. Well, after he was knocked out, he loads him into the van, and then Oh, maybe not.
Oh.
Maybe
I thought he planned on killing him.
you thought that.
Yeah, I did. I thought he was dead.
I honestly don't know why he loaded him in the van at all.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah,
than
I don't. I thought he was gonna dispose of his body. Frankly, I thought that's where he was going.
Like roll the van down a hill or something.
Yeah, something like that. Just get him out of there.
Because he
To
does put
link
him in the
to-
driver's seat.
Yeah.
He puts Harry in the driver's seat. So maybe that was the plan.
so
Make it look like he got into a car accident.
yeah. So while this is happening, he does load him in, but Harry wakes back up and punches out Phil, and then he starts to take off again in the van. And
I like that punch that he did.
yeah. So as he's driving, he runs into the big angry mob, and they force him to veer right off of a bridge.
Yeah.
And this is the big moment. So
Oh.
so Phil kind of trips a little bit as the van's taking the sharp turn, because he's kind of like chasing after it too to see what the hell's going on. He trips, falls into like sort of like a ditch, and he looks up, and as he looks up, the van takes off and starts to fly. It's Christmas magic.
It is.
And as the van is flying away, we get the last line of "'Twas the night before Christmas" being recited, and the film ends.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Just before we recorded this, Jeremy sent the group text saying how he thought it was such an awesome way to end the film.
Yeah.
So, and I would agree too. And the fact that it gives you the idea that he maybe he was Santa Claus after all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it ties back to Taxi Driver, in that the end of Taxi Driver, people think, well, does Travis Bickle die? Or the very last scene, he meets up with the woman from Moonlighting. What's her name?
Sybil Shepherd.
Yeah, Sybil Shepherd shows up and pops into the back of his taxi, and you get the idea that, or she kind of praises him and everything, and you get the idea, well, is this just a dream in Travis Bickle's head, or did this actually happen? And I think it's similarly with this film. It's like, what just happened? Is this just the delusion of Harry at the very end, or did it actually really happen?
Right. That's
Like in
So
his
then, what do
mind.
you guys think happened?
I go for
is someone
that
who-
was real. Yeah, that's the way I'm gonna view it. Is that it was real?
I agree with that. I'd like to
Yeah.
believe it was real. I'd like
After
to think
everything
that.
he's been through.
Yeah, I
Or-
think he really got his wish, like super magic. He
Yeah.
really became super magic.
Mike's just shaking his head.
No, he didn't go off into the sky.
Some
I
say
think
he's
that's-
still flying, Mike.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
think
story I'm going
that's
to tell my kids.
Great. Yeah.
Or
Well,
just-
the funny thing about what you said, Jeremy, is that you would like to believe that.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice that you'd like to believe it, but that's not
No,
what
I
happened.
do believe.
But
Okay, now that's better.
Yeah.
you know, in reality,
What were you
that's
gonna
what Christmas is all about. Basically, it's like this time of year, the days get shorter and shorter and colder, but yet we come together and we say that this is actually the best time of year. You know, so we're sort of fooling ourselves into thinking that, and so it's kind of the same thing. You know, like the more you believe it, you start to actually feel it, that it actually is true.
Yeah.
I like that.
Even
Okay.
if it does involve murdering a few people. You know.
Yeah, the truth is that he crashed off into the ravine. He thinks that he went up into the sky. I think I'll be with you on that. That's what he thinks happened, because he's gone mentally. But come on.
Right, it's just one. Either he
I
got
wasn't
out.
aware of the Ford Econoline having flight powers.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
it makes it end so you're like, yeah, he had a happy ending. He flew off and, he did his thing.
the other thing too is like you can show this film to your kids, and then you can say, "This is the new Santa," and instead of listening for reindeer, you're gonna listen for his Ford truck or Ford van to land on your roof.
Screw the Santa Claus. Watch Christmas Evil instead.
And if you're naughty, you get a bag of dirt.
Yes.
I love it.
I don't
I'll
think
have a
this is
sign.
a child-appropriate film.
Just a couple cuts here and there. We could make it family friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it definitely wasn't like overly graphic.
Just don't make it look like, oh, it's okay to spy on kids in their windows and just go up to look at people. Or hide behind bushes, and grab somebody.
Or leave like strange muddy marks on their side of their house.
Well, I wanted to go back earlier in the beginning of this. You guys were saying you didn't understand how they took the leap from, what was it, from him? I was confused what you guys were talking about. From going to be Santa?
Seeing his
Yeah.
mom and dad doing that to
Yeah, the
just
psychological
suddenly.
aspect of that. Yeah.
Oh, you mean having that like affect him the rest of his
Yeah.
life?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, why would he want to become Santa? It's like all he pretty much saw was like, oh, this guy dressed as Santa is like doing my mom. I don't know, doing something to my mom. You think he'd be like, oh, I hate this guy. What is he doing to my mom?
Well, the way I took it was that he saw his mother being unfaithful to the father. He really thought that she was sort of cheating on him, and that sort of psychologically scarred. Sort of broke the idea that they were like that they were a happy family together.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this too, as far as him still wanting to be Santa, I think for whatever reason the values of naughty and nice really stuck with him.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this movie is a little bit more about just his values of how to treat people. And I think that came through with Frank.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once he saw that Frank took complete advantage of him just being a nice guy, Frank saw that as an opportunity. I'm going to screw him over because I know he's not going to say no, because that's just not the kind of person that Harry is. So to me, this was more about it wasn't really Santa necessarily that he loves. It's more like the promoting good values and how you treat people. That's what I took from that.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Okay. Well, how about a hell yeah moment? Whoever wants to start.
A hell yeah. My hell yeah moment would be, I guess, when he goes just after he's killed the people by the church and goes into the party, and then when he scares the children with that line at the end. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. It's definitely the sword into the eye with that one jerk. Like Mike was saying, those people were being jerks. In the end, like you actually like felt for him. Like, yeah, get this guy out of here. He's frustrated. And what do? He used something. He used a toy, something he had with him to his advantage, and it worked.
And I'll say too, I actually, that scene in particular, not the way he killed them with the plastic toys, but just the way he reacted in killing them, I actually could see something like that happening.
Especially in his mindset.
Right. Right. You caught him at a time where he's not in the right mind. And I could totally see somebody doing that. It's probably happened.
Yeah, a quick
Yeah.
reaction.
With all the mass shootings that we have
Yep.
nowadays, where people just have a mental break and they somehow find it rational to kill strangers because of their personal problems going on in their life.
Yeah.
I can totally see that happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unrealistic. So.
Did you
Well,
do your hell yeah moment, Jeremy?
I think mine would have to be when he's yelling at the kids in the street about the wishes. It's just because his delivery there is just really insane. He's just yelling and looking straight ahead. and then I'd also say the ending as well. I liked. But. Okay. Final rating.
Well, we all didn't say it. Did we all
sorry.
say them?
No, we didn't.
I think, Mike, did you go?
Right.
Yeah. Or I didn't go. I'll say it in a minute. But did Damon say his?
Yeah, the scene where just
yeah.
after he's killed and then he goes into the party and scares the kids.
Yeah.
I'd say mine was the part where we really see how crazy he's getting when he is putting the beard on and the "it's me" line, and he's laughing. He's really unhinged at that point. I thought he did a great job with the acting, where it was crazy but not over the top crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It
Like
wasn't
campy.
overacting for
I mean,
the character.
What?
It wasn't overacting or anything for it.
Yeah. Like I said, I as weird and scary as it sounds, I could actually see somebody doing this. This type of Santa killing.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Did everybody say their part? We had 4 people say their. Oh, okay.
All right. Final rating. I'll give it 3.5 toy soldiers out of 5. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and like you said, Mike, the performance was really good. It could have
why
easily
not-
gone.
Is it out of 5?
Yeah, out of 5.
Where's the other 1.5?
I guess there were a few like minor things where like some stuff went on a little too long for me. I would have liked a few more kills. It drags a little at points for me, but I mean, maybe I could bump it up to a 4. It's the holiday season. I'm feeling generous.
Little cheer, right? A little joy for this classic cult film.
I mean, I didn't have a lot of problems with it, but there were just a few moments where you could point to his stuff and be like, well, there's like some weird things here that I don't understand. Like stuff we didn't get. Like the house. Like why was he in there, like the house, like doing weird shit with the presents and things you have to like fill in blanks for. But yeah, I really did enjoy it.
I'll give it 4 out of 5 bags of dirt. I think, like I said before, I think it was the first Santa killer movie, and so you got to give it props for originality. And then also it had a low budget, so you know, if you were seeing this in 1980 for the first time, I mean, it was banned in the UK for a while, so I think if you saw this back in 1980 for the first time, I think you would have thought you got your money's worth for sure.
I'm still thinking about my final rating.
Okay, I'll go then while you're thinking. I'd say 4.5. I'll say 4.5, or four handprints and a half lip print. so 1 lip. I liked it. I was surprised at how much I liked it, and I'm not condoning any of what he did, but he was a killer that I could at least understand a little bit, not the reasoning behind how he got like this, but I can at least understand a little bit who he killed. You know, because sometimes you'll have shows or movies like this where the killer just kills indiscriminately. And you could say maybe the first kills he did were indiscriminate, but they were really egging him on. And I think they just broke him. He was on the line at that moment, and they pushed him over.
Yeah.
So that's why he killed them. But as far as Frank, I can totally get that. He was upset with him the entire movie ever since he learned that he took advantage of him. And again, I'm not saying that any of these people deserve to die because of this, but I can at least understand a little bit, you know, why he targeted these people.
I'm I think I'm gonna have to give it 4 eye stabs. 4 eye stabs. And a little eggnog on the side. Why not?
Nice.
But yeah, I think like maybe a little bit more in depth, like maybe flashbacks or something to continue on to make his transformation to be like why he really wants to be Santa even more. Maybe a little bit more clarity there. I understand the part like, oh, like they show like he had this one incident like traumatized him, but I wanted a little bit more there of that. Maybe just a little bit more. The kills were fine. There doesn't need to be a lot of kills, but they need to be kills that are impactful for his transformation to what he's becoming. So as long as there's a certain amount there that make an impact, you get what he's going through, what he's becoming, it's fine. But like it's like the same thing in Halloween, which if you've seen the trailer for this movie, it has a lot of similarities to how they did Halloween too, of how they put it together, especially the ending of it. So like in Halloween, there was only a certain amount of kills compared to the ones they made now where there's kills all over the place. That's like constant. So what I liked about that is like, oh, there was a certain amount that really made an impact for his story. And that's what they did in this one. So, but yeah, if I could have like a little bit more clarification about that true transformation, about what made him traumatized, like, I want to become Santa now, that would have been nice. But overall, I highly enjoyed it.
Sweet.
Well, I'd say that, again, I think I'm trying to think about that too. I'd say he wanted to be Santa. Again, he really did value the whole naughty and nice thing. I think he really believed in that.
Yeah.
That if you're bad, you get what's coming to you.
Yeah.
And in his eyes, it was the killing.
Yeah.
But I think he really did stand by that. I think that stayed with him his whole life, the naughty and nice thing.
Which is what, yeah,
And
he was
then-
doing with the notebooks with the kids while he was like watching them.
Yeah. And he had those for years, like going back years. He had like, 20 of those books on his desk or wherever he was doing that. So he had been doing that for years.
Yeah.
I kind of would like to know a little bit more about what was going on like in his life. Because I mean, it obviously looked like he never really dated anybody, he lived alone. He didn't really socialize with anybody other than his brother. And he worked at a toy factory, which makes sense because he can kind of have a Santa-like job year round. And is that everything? Is that kind of his life in a nutshell, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, working at a toy factory was huge. So
He's lonely. I got the vibe that he's lonely.
yeah.
The thing is, though, do you think people like around the building, do you think they viewed him as kind of a weirdo? I got the vibe that people thought, like they didn't think he was weird. Like he was kind of a loner. But
I kind of
I didn't.
I saw it as like a guy that like you just like tolerate. It's like one of those like annoying people, but they're like harmless. So you're just like, oh yeah, there goes Harry.
Yeah.
You know who he's kind of like? Office Space. Who's the guy in the basement?
Oh yeah, stapler dude. Yeah.
Who they just stopped giving him a paycheck, and then he burns the place down at the end. So yeah, he's kind of like that guy.
Yeah.
Well, you know, this is gonna sound weird, but like, there's a lot of things that, like, at the party, I really identified with him a little bit there. Like, those types of places are completely not my scene. Like, what I wrote down is the vibe that they were trying to capture there, where I wrote down, okay, so he's disgusted by all the drinking going on, and what I say is schmoozing. People are all just, you know, corporate stuff. Would you guys be comfortable in situations like that? I hate things like that.
Nah, I'm not a big fan of those kind of events. I don't like
And then
small talk.
Yeah.
What about the charity thing? I thought that was crap too. I was on his side with that. I didn't fully understand what the charity was. Was it pretty much like a donation match type thing?
It might have been.
It was weird. Yeah. Like,
And I didn't even get, like, that executive. He's like, I don't even know how many kids are in that hospital. So I didn't get that. Like, does that matter? I thought you're just given a bunch of toys. That whole thing was weird. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I did like how he said when he was given the toys, he's like, they'll be amazed at their generosity. Somebody else did that. It reminded me of a show or a movie. I can't remember. Somebody else did something like that where they donated on behalf of somebody else unknowingly. I can't remember what that was from. But yeah, so I kind of, I hate to say it because now who knows what people will think of me. I kind of identified with Harry in many ways, not with the killing, obviously, but maybe. No, just kidding. No, I did. I found him multi-layered, and because of that, empathetic. Again, not with the killing, but many other aspects of his life, and obviously the spying on the kids was weird.
yeah.
At least he was spying on them with no, like, sex predator.
Right. It wasn't
motives.
something like that. It was just like, oh, what are they up to? Are they being good this year? And it's like, yeah, he's literally going through that good and bad list.
Yeah.
Like to me, what he would have been better served doing is almost like some type of student mentor or something, because I think he really cared about children and wanted them to get on the right path.
Milton is the character from Office Space, who I couldn't remember.
No, that makes sense too, like, especially if you like the whole naughty, like, good list. Like, oh, if you're bad, this is what you're getting. You're getting dirt. You keep being bad, you're just going to continue getting dirt.
Right. The values that he said, where you act like this is what you get.
Yeah.
And then the kids will have the choice of, do I want to keep acting the way I'm acting and get this and have people view me as bad or naughty, or do I want to go lead a better life, you could say, or whatever word you want to use, and see the rewards of that.
Yeah.
To me, it's more broad. It's more about, like, just how you treat people, values.
No, that's very true. It's very true.
I'm amazed that nobody, Derek, I thought you'd catch this, that no one has said that Phil is Dale.
No, I was literally going to say that. Like, the only reason I was going to bring it up, like, later on, like, once we were done with our main points, but I didn't realize that till, like, not even, like, recently, like, when I was literally going through the cast listing again to remember their names.
Oh, you didn't realize it during the movie?
Not at first, no. because I only did the one watch a few weeks ago. But when I was going through the cast list, like, oh yeah, that is Dale. So
Dale from what?
Walking Dead.
Okay.
For the first 2 seasons of the show.
My favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
One of them. Mm-hmm. Of course, they kill him.
Of course.
Just like my favorite restaurants, they all close.
Sadly,
Sad. Or one out for Mike's favorite restaurants.
Yeah.
What's your favorite restaurants that closed?
Well, one that I can think of right now is Cheeseburger in Paradise. It was in Middleton. It's the Jimmy Buffett restaurants.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of some more local ones.
Ponderosa.
There's also no, I don't remember that. I don't think I've ever been there.
That was my shit back in the day.
Oh, there's been stores too that closed, like a lot of pet stores. Like there was one called Animal Crackers in Greendale that closed a long time ago. There was a bird store in New Berlin, not far from where I lived, that didn't last long. Although the people that worked there weren't even friendly. It seemed like they didn't even want customers. But it was a nice place. But yeah, a lot of places now. Big Boy Restaurant, which is near Damon, they didn't close, but they moved. But I don't know if they opened back up yet.
They did.
They did?
Yeah.
How do you know? Do you go there?
It's they moved to a location in Sussex that's right off of the Bugline Trail. Like I can bike to it.
Are they open? Oh, I gotta go there. But yeah, there's been other restaurants. I can't think of them right now, but
Since the pandemic.
yeah. No,
just in general?
all my life, my whole life, they've been closing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you have a bike now, right? We should do a ride the bug line to Big Boy sometime.
All right, I'd be down.
All of us?
Yeah.
We can make a movie out of
There you
it.
go.
Yeah.
That could be used in one of our Mysteries of Beyond,
Oh, right on. All right. Well, on that note, I guess that is going to wrap things up here for the Freaky Film Club.
Yeah, we went on a pretty deep dive of. There is no deeper analysis than what we just did of this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True meaning of Christmas right there, my friends.
So let's hope everyone at home has a great holiday, and we will see you all next year with some more great Freaky Film content.
Merry Christmas,
And Merry Christmas,
everybody.
everyone.
Have some eggnog.